Welcome everyone on Zoom. Welcome everyone on Facebook. I am coming to you live through Zoom and sharing this on Facebook Live. This is a special webinar about taking charge of your website. So the first thing that I want to do is to actually share my screen with you. And I'm going to be sharing the main screen, which I then need to bring up my PowerPoint. So this is going to take just 1 second here to get this started. And as I said, the name of this presentation is Take Charge of Your Website. To me, this is a really important thing, and the reason why it is that I have been in this industry for a long time, essentially since the beginning of the internet. And over this period of time, I have built literally hundreds and hundreds of websites, helping people to sell more online. And one of the things that I consistently see is that people need to be able to make changes to their website, and I'm not always available to do that for them. You can see up here some of the other things about me. Over the past month, I have been actually sharing a free online course where at the beginning of that online course, I went out and introduced myself in some great depth here. So I'm not going to reiterate that a whole bunch in terms of all the different things you can read up there, a few things about me. That's a picture of my mom over there on the left holding up one of my best-selling books. Appreciate her having come with that particular book launch party. But the big thing is I've been doing this a long time. I've won a lot of awards for what I'm doing. So when you see things like having an internet glitch here today, and you're like, why does that always just happen to me? Guess what? It happens to all of us. Let's go ahead and continue on here and kind of go through these things. So the first thing I've got is a question for you, and that is, what do all these websites have in common? Facebook, YouTube, Amazon. Well, when I've asked people this in the past, I've gotten answers like, well, they were all started by tech gurus. And they all make a lot of money. They have some funny icons that you can make into an emoticon. Yeah, all those things are true, but that's not really what I'm looking for. What I'm trying to get to is, okay, so here's some of those answers there. What I'm trying to get to was a little bit more along the lines of what they actually do and how they function. And so people have also responded with these kind of questions about, well, they all go out there and they mine your data. They all have some type of customer review system, and they rely on others to build their content for them. And they all get a lot of traffic. Again, those things are true, but that's not quite the answer that I'm trying to get to. What I'm really trying to get to is why they all get a lot of traffic. And the reason why they do is that every time you visit them, the content on their site is different. The content is personalized, it's timely, and it's relevant. In fact, let's just take an example here of Facebook. Let's say that you go to Facebook today and you see this in your newsfeed. And then you come back tomorrow and you see the exact same newsfeed. And then you come back in a week and you see the exact same news feed. What if you come back in a month or even a year and you see everything is the same, nothing has changed? Well, my question to you is, what makes you think your site's any different? Hey, guess what? It isn't. If your site is not providing constantly changing, updated, timely, relevant, and personal information, there's no reason for anybody to ever come back to your website. You have to be able to manage your own website and control those things yourself. This morning, I was in a mastermind meeting, and one of my mastermind members actually surprised me saying, you know what? I always thought of my website as a billboard and that I didn't have to change anything. Once I got it up there, that was good. And I've got to tell you, your website is not a billboard. You must be providing information that changes all the time. Think if it was a billboard, you drove by this sign every day and it never changed. Well, pretty soon you'd stop looking at it because it was the same. And your website isn't any different. Now, one of the things that you can do is you can have your same website be up there, but displaying different content to different people. You can have it personalized for different folks. There is actually a WordPress plugin called If So that allows you to change your website based upon who referred you to that website, how many different pages you visited, what your location is, whether you're on a tablet, a cell phone, your computer, if you're logged in or not, what your profile has to say about you. All of these things you can use to display different content to your visitors. Now you can go grab a copy of that WordPress plugin at webstoresltd.com/ifso. The plugin is called If So. Now we're also all familiar with different reward programs. You go to a hotel and you stay a certain number of nights. You go to a restaurant and you eat there a certain number of times. You have frequent flyer miles, whatever. And for doing those things, you get rewards, you get points. And it turns out you could do something similar with your own reward program on your website. Imagine if you would, every time somebody visited your website, they got a certain number of points. Say they shared a blog post, they would get a certain number of points. Maybe they took some other actions where they got some people to, you referred some friends or got people to sign up and so forth. All of these things can give people customer loyalty reward points. This plugin is called Gratisfaction, and you can get a copy of it at webstoreslimited.com/gratisfaction. So those are a couple of things right off the bat before we even get started of how you can actually get people to come back to your website over and over again, which is what you really want. The whole thing of Field of Dreams about if you build it, they will come has been applied to websites time after time. And this is one of the biggest myths, in fact, downright lies that have been propagated on the internet of if you just build your website, they will come. It doesn't work that way. You have to get people to come back to your website over and over again by working it and driving business yourself. I've seen all of these other gurus out there promoting things about how you can, live in these mansions with all these fancy cars without having to do any work. Just follow their system and it's all going to be good. They are preying on you. They are trying to get you to swallow some magic pill that doesn't exist. The reality is that with a website, you have to work it just like any other business. I mean, if all of those other things weren't true, this is what Amazon would still look like today. This was Amazon back in 1996. Their original website, and you can see Jeff Bezos down there in his original office. The point of all of this is you have to keep working it. There is no such thing as passive income. There's only residual income. So you can do all the work up front and get some residual income, but you do have to still work. If you have been ignoring your website, it is hurting your business more than you know. The simple fact is you can't just fire and forget. It's not some kind of a guided missile system like you see here where it takes over and it does all the work for you. If you want to be successful, you have to mind your own business. It's time to take charge of your website. And that's what I'm going to show you today is how you can take charge of your website and actually go in there and make things happen. As I said, I've got customers out there that need to be able to change their product pages. They need to edit certain pages. They need to update their website in general. And these are all things that I'm going to show you how to do. So, as I said, over the last 3 weeks, I have been putting out a series of free videos that kind of go along with the concept of what we're talking about here today. The first video was to grow your business with a WordPress website. The second video in week 2, we talked about attracting customers and selling without appearing to sell. And in the third video in week 3, we talked about internet marketing success without brain damage or time overload. Well, in this webinar today, we're going to talk about putting it all together. And I really encourage you to stay with me till the end of this, because at the end, I've got a gift for the people that have stayed till the end. And I think you're going to really enjoy what we're talking about here today. Back in week 2 of the free training, I shared this meme with people about this quote here from Seth Godin about how people do not buy goods and services. They buy relations, stories, and magic. And it's really important that you understand this. In fact, I created a little acronym around the word magic that stands for marketing, attracting, gaining, and inspiring your customers. So the way that all of this works, the way that you kind of create this magic, is that the first thing you have to do is understand who your ideal customer is. You need to go out there and build an ideal customer avatar, or ICA, where you know everything it's possible to know about that person, not just their age and gender, but the things, their daily routines, what their pain points are, what are their aspirations, who are key influencers that they follow. Once you start to understand really who your ideal customer is, then you can target all of your market specifically to that one person. In fact, I recommend that you give that person a picture and a name so that you can really say, when you're writing an email, "Dear Jane," and be able to talk specifically to that person. I went into some depth on this in one of the previous videos, so I'm not going to explain that entire concept here again, because you can go back and you can watch those free videos as well. But you create your ideal customer avatar, then you write headlines that appeal to that ideal customer avatar. You use images that tell a story to that ideal customer avatar. You create videos that appeal to that ideal customer avatar. You write your short and your long descriptions specific to that person, and then you use social proof of people who are also your ideal customer avatar. So one person just like you is selling to somebody else just like you. And that's really what it all boils down to, is doing everything for that specific person. Now, in the short description area, you want to actually utilize this particular formula. This is a formula that was shared with me by Ray Edwards, who is one of the premier copywriters on the planet. He has sold literally hundreds of millions of dollars worth of goods and services online. And he calls this your core thesis, where you say something like, any scout leader can utilize flameless candles by purchasing these faux candles because they don't blow out in the wind and can be used in fire restricted buildings, whatever it might be. So this is a little formula that you might want to use in your short descriptions, because the short description may be the only thing that people actually read. And then the long description should tell a story. The more powerful the customer's fantasy of owning your product or service, the more likely they are to buy it. So you want to tell a story. And I put together this little diagram here of how you may actually want to do this, where you have some person with a goal and motivation, and then something happens and they have all these conflicts and risks and problems. They're struggling along the way. And finally, they have this black moment of a crisis. What's going to happen? And your product or service comes in and saves the day. Uh, their life has ended up changing forever, and they're better off than when they started. You want to be able to provide that type of a story to these people as they're reading the descriptions, because people will remember stories longer than they will remember descriptions. And you can utilize these kinds of stories in all of your different marketing efforts, whether it be in your product descriptions, whether you're doing webinars, videos, ads, blog posts, emails, social media posts, whatever. You always want to be telling a story in addition to including the detailed product information. This is an example of a client of mine. He's got this particular product called an axe ball. And you can see here that just from this story, you can almost tell what's going on. The axe ball is this item that this person swings around. And here you've got a Desert Storm vet that ended up losing his legs, and he is rehabilitating himself by utilizing this piece of exercise equipment. Well, my client tells this story in video form. He obviously tells it in picture form, and he tells it in his narrative. So that's the kind of thing you want to do, is really get to where your customer is relating to whatever it is that you are telling. Now, one of the best things you can do is to actually get others to tell their story for you. You know, if that Army vet was out there doing a testimonial, that would be even stronger. And guess what? He does have such a video testimonial from that person. Get your customers to write reviews. Get affiliates and joint venture partners to go out there and share their experiences and their stories with your customers. Get customer endorsements. Have people that are influencers in your industry be providing stories about your products and services. And then maybe even go out and create a podcast and interview your customers on your podcast, letting them share their story with others. Word of mouth is the most powerful form of marketing. And if you can accomplish that by incentivizing people to participate in this storytelling process, it's going to go a long ways. At the end of your product descriptions, you want to have a call to action. And the call to action is not just your buy now button. It is your chance to actually close the deal. So I had in, I believe it was video 2 again, the example of the fake candles. And I suggested that people buy 12 of the candles, not just one, because I was selling to an ideal customer avatar of a scout leader. And I said, hey, get one for each point of the scout law. And then include a what if question. This particular question here is, again, kind of a formula that you should really pay attention to. So in the case of the fake candles, I said, what if you don't purchase these candles? Well, you can continue to not have the ability to use candles at your ceremonies. You can continue to have your ceremonies be forgetful and uninteresting. Or you can choose to purchase these candles and make your scout ceremonies something that the boys will remember for years to come. So include that kind of what if question in your call to action. Now, I've thrown a lot at you, and you might be saying, wait a minute, how can I possibly do all of this without some kind of brain damage or time overload? And the answer is to cope. Create once and publish everywhere. A couple of the tools that I actually use for doing this, one is called MailPoet. This is a WordPress plugin that will generate newsletters for me when I write a blog post. And then I write a blog post and I utilize Microblog Poster. You can also use Social Networks Auto Poster. Those are two similar and competing plugins, where when you write a blog post, it will automatically publish it out to all of your social channels. So here's an example. I recently wrote this article, Affecting Behavior, and it appeared on the homepage of my website, creating new content where it's driving people back to my website, giving them a reason to return. So I put it on the homepage of my website. That happens automatically. And then it also automatically generates a newsletter for me with that same information. So I don't have to do anything. I just write the blog post, it creates a newsletter, and it automatically sends the newsletter out. And then the microblog poster plugin goes out there and it puts that information out on places like Twitter and Facebook and so forth. So create once, publish everywhere. Another tool that you can use along these same lines is called IFTTT. It stands for if this, then that. And you can just go to ifttt.com and set up some different rules for things like, hey, I'm putting something out on Instagram and I want it to simultaneously publish this out to Pinterest. And a number of other rules, just about anything you can think of. Now, when we think of COPE, creating once and publishing everywhere, this is actually an interesting little tidbit here. This is a store, my store, on my website, Web Stores Limited, and you can see I've got a number of different things up there, some of my books, some apparel, and so forth. Well, there is a plugin that's actually created by Facebook called Facebook for WooCommerce. So if you're utilizing WooCommerce as your shopping cart there, you can basically have your store be automatically put up on Facebook. Now, people have asked me, why would Facebook possibly do this? And the reason is that they've also made it really easy to create ads around certain products, and they're trying to sell ads. So that is the exact same store here on my Facebook page. So people can now shop directly into Facebook. And again, I've only put these products up there one time. People often think of e-commerce sites as being something that sells physical products, usually at retail. One of the things I've been known for over the last 20 years is getting people to sell their products at wholesale, which has a whole different type of purchasing behavior than a retail shop does. But the fact is that you can sell just about anything on an e-commerce shopping cart software. You can do digital downloads. You can provide access to exclusive content. You can sell your time as a product. So if you are a consultant or a coach, you might want to put your, an hour of my time as X and sell that as a product. You can sell tickets to an event. I've got customers out there that have vacation rentals and they're selling bookings and reservations. You can ask for donations and invoices. In fact, that's one of the things I frequently do with my customers is that I will send them an invoice and say, pay this online at this location, and they can go in and just pay directly online. So here's an example of a wholesale application. Reservation forms, paying your invoices, those types of things, like I said. Now here's something that is interesting about what the true cost of a high-performing website. The average cost to set up a basic WooCommerce website, according to BizTech, is $6,361. What most people don't realize is that it costs about the same every single year to maintain your website as it did to build your website in the first place. That is the primary reason why you must take charge of your website. Look, I'm a website designer here, and I'm telling you that you need to be out there taking charge of your website because it is a significant effort, and it happens not just once a year. It happens on an ongoing basis where you need to be able to make those kinds of changes. In fact, this is a screenshot from just some random website that I found in terms of how much website maintenance costs. And you can see here the thing that happens with these is that, all right, maybe I choose the 5-hour plan. That's 5 hours per month. That's not very much. It's going to cost $400, and it's a 3 to 5 day turnaround. Frequently, I've got clients out there that are saying, I've got this sale coming up. I want it to be done by tomorrow. And again, it's not just the cost, it's the timing factor, why you have to be able to have the tools and the skills necessary to make those changes to your website yourself. So here's what we've learned so far. You have to have dynamic content that's personalized, changes frequently so that people will remain interested in your website. You need to have an ideal customer avatar and tell stories to that ICA. And then you need to cope. You need to create once and publish everywhere. So we've talked here a lot about what you need to do, but how would you like to know exactly how to do this? So not just that you need to do this, but exactly how to go in and make those kinds of changes to your website yourself. Are you ready to make the magic happen in your business? Well, I hope so, because I have an online course that's going to teach you all of this stuff. And the reality is you don't need more content. The fact is that there are thousands of YouTube videos out there and lots of other online courses out there that you can take that will show you how to build a WordPress website. What you really need is you need a method to get you there fast, to do the types of things you want to do in a speedy manner, much like comparing a Tesla Roadster to a P50. So that's what Web Stories University is all about. Now, before I go on, I want to tell you a story, and that is about Dr. Richard Feynman, who was the renowned Nobel laureate physicist. And one day he walked into his class and he said, what do you think the probability is that if I walked out into the parking lot, the first car that I saw, that their license plate number would be 6ZNA74? Well, his students thought about this for a while, and they ran a bunch of calculations. They determined that, if every letter and every number had the same probability of appearing in a particular order, that the probability would be about 1 in 17 million. And then Dr. Feynman revealed that no, the actual answer was 1. He had seen this car with this exact license plate before he walked into the classroom. So he knew it was there. Now, this is a lot like online courses. If it's already been done once and it's been shown to work and be effective, then the probability is no longer 1 in a bazillion, it is 1. You can replicate these steps in your business. And that's exactly what I want to show you how in Web Stories University. Look, I get it. You want to make jams. You want to be creating belt buckles. You want to be out there taking photographs, making your products. And you're probably an expert at doing those kinds of things. And that's really what you should be doing and what you want to do, which is why the course is so important, to teach you the things that you need to do so that you can continue to do the things that are important in your business. Web Stories University is a completely different kind of program than almost anything else that you have ever seen out there. And the reason is that you are not going to be taught the same kinds of things that you see in all these other courses. How to install WordPress, how to create a page, how to build menus, how to select a theme. You know what? I've got all that information inside of Web Stories University as pre-recorded videos that you can get to for reference anytime you want to. But the reason why Web Stories University is different is we're going to talk about the things that matter to you and your business, the things like, how do I create a sale? How do I go in there and change my product pricing? How do I go in there and create a drip email campaign to my customers? Those are the kinds of things that we're going to talk about each and every week in Web Stores University. And you're going to get results. These are actual student examples of people that have been through my courses before. They built these websites themselves. You're going to get a dashboard in Web Stores University where you can see here that there's a number of different things that are going to happen. There's actually 3 different courses. One's on WordPress, one's on WooCommerce, one's on internet marketing. Each of those lasts 6 weeks. You see a big button here, next live course. We have a live course once a week. There's also a private Facebook group that you have access to, an extensive knowledge base. You can contact me, your instructor, and then there's all kinds of other resources and the recorded courses on there. So you have access to all of that stuff. Look, I don't claim to know everything. I do claim that I have been in this business for over 20 years. You can see here that when people participate in these classes, that everybody gets to learn from each other. I even get to learn from you and what your problems are. You have access to all of the recorded courses as well. The live courses are also recorded, so if you can't make it for a live session, it's no big deal. We do record all of those, and you can go back and watch them at your leisure. In addition, you can go through the step-by-step courses here and get an answer to any of the questions that you might have. There is an extensive knowledge base where you can search the documentation on just about any question that you want. You get priority email access to me. Anytime you have a question, you can fill out this little form and email me directly. As I said, there's also a private Facebook group. Only my students get to be in this group. I answer your questions in there so that all the other students can see the answers. And you can ask questions and post things to other students and learn from them as well. So as I said, there are actually 3 separate courses: WordPress, e-commerce, and internet marketing. It's more than just videos. It's real world help and advice. And it's time for you to take charge of your website. Here's what's all included in these courses. The live instructor interaction for 6 weeks in each course. These are real-time live courses, and they are all recorded. You also get the pre-recorded video lessons, the extensive knowledge base to quickly find your answers to any question, email access to the instructor, and you get all this for a lifetime. You get lifetime online community reference library at Web Stores University, lifetime access to the private Facebook group, lifetime access to all of the recorded videos. And as some bonuses, I'm throwing in that you get free hosting during the live portion of the class. So if the class lasts 6 weeks, you get a student area where you can go in there and experiment with the things that we are learning about in the course. So you can practice, and you don't have to set up your own domain name. In fact, maybe you don't even have a domain name yet, and you're really just thinking about getting going here with your own WordPress website. Well, you can get 6 weeks of free hosting where you can experiment and try things out. And then when you're done, you say, hey, yeah, I'm really ready to do this. Then you can transfer that over to an actual domain name and keep going from there. And I'm also going to give you the audio recordings of all of the videos so that you can listen in your car if you don't have time to attend the live conferences. And when you complete all 3 courses at the end, you're going to get a certificate of completion. So registration is open now. You can just go to webstoresuniversity.com. The registration actually closes this Wednesday at midnight. So you want to go in there and get registered now while there's still room in the class and before the registration closes. because the class starts this Thursday, February 7th at 3:00 p.m. Again, if you can't make it to the class, don't worry about it. We'll record that, but that is when the live classes start. So you need to register right now before the registration closes on February 6th. So how much does all this cost? You're like, this is great, but you're, how much is it really going to cost me to do this? Well, as we talked about before, the cost to build your website is averages $6,361. If you look at the yearly maintenance costs on that and add in your digital marketing, which you're going to learn about here as well, that your first year cost for a website could easily be $18,361. Or you could go out and you could hire somebody at a nominal amount like $15 an hour and pay them $31,000 a year. Well, that's how much it would cost you to do that, but I'm not going to charge you that. Your investment is just a one-time payment of $997 for any one of the courses, or you can sign up for all 3 courses and get the bundle of them and pay $1997, basically getting all 3 courses for the price of 2, saving $1,000. Optionally, you can use the payment plan where you just pay $97 a month for a year, or $197 a month for the year for the bundle of all 3 courses. So that's it. No upsells, not trying to do anything special there. Great value, way less cost than the cost of paying someone else to maintain your website, and you're going to have the skills and the tools needed where you can do this on an ongoing basis. As we said, it's your business and you need to control it. It does have a 100% money-back guarantee as well. If you participate in at least 2 of the live courses and do all of the assignments, do the things that we're telling you to do, and you're not satisfied with it, then I'm going to return 100% of your money. So great deal and kind of a no-brainer here. I promised you a gift if you stuck with me to the end, and this is really cool here as well. If you pay in full today, I'm also going to send you a physical copy of 2 of my books, my best-selling books, The Influencer Effect and Amazon's Dirty Little Secrets, and I'm going to give you this really cool t-shirt here that says take charge of your website. Just tell me what size t-shirt you wear, and I will be sending that out to you as well. So that's where we are. I am excited to go on this journey with you. I want to be your guide, and let me just play for you here a quick video of one of my former students and what she has to say about these courses.
Hi, I just completed Greg Jamison's WordPress class, and I would definitely recommend the course as a tool for increasing your knowledge of e-commerce, the use of WordPress, and WooCommerce. Greg Jamison has demonstrated that he's an expert in the field of e-commerce, and his own personal knowledge has increased my knowledge of the subject.
All right. So another quick quote here from Seth Godin. If you hesitate to map out your future, to make a big plan or to set a goal, you've just gone ahead and mapped out your future anyway. So don't hesitate. Take advantage of this today. You're going to be glad you did. Just go to webstoresuniversity.com and register. Registration is open now. It's open until midnight on Wednesday, and at that time the cart closes. So jump on over to webstoresuniversity.com and register today. And I will go ahead and stay here on this call for a little bit longer. If anybody has any questions, feel free to enter those into the comments area or into the Facebook Live, and I will attempt to answer any of those questions as well. You're welcome, Elizabeth. She says, great info, thank you. Appreciate that, and you're very welcome.